Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज कचार्य स्त्रोत्र शत हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस ऐसी भक्तिनंद स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णविंद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So we are reading today from Canto 7, Chapter 7, entitled What Prahlad Learned in the Womb. We are on text number 33. एवं निर्जित सद्वर्गे क्रियते भक्ते ईश्वरे वासुदेवे भगवती यया संलभ्यते रतिः एवं निर्जित सद्वर्गे क्रियते भक्तिरीश्वरे वासुदेवे भगवती यया संलभ्यते रतिः एवं निर्जित सद्वर्गे क्रियते भक्तिरीश्वरे वासुदेवे भगवती यया संलभ्यते रतिः एवं निर्जित सद्वर्गे क्रियते भक्तिरीश्वरे वासुदेवे भगवती यया संलभ्यते रतिः षड्वर्गे क्रियते भक्तिरीश्वरे वासुदेवे भगवती यया संलभ्यते रतिः एवं निर्जित षड्वर्गे क्रियते भक्तिरीश्वरे वासुदेवे भगवती यया संलभ्यते रतिः माताजी एवं निर्जित षड्वर्गे क्रियते भक्तिरीश्वरे वासुदेवे भगवती यया संलभ्यते रतिः word to word translation एवं thus निर्जित subdued satvarge by the six symptoms of the senses lusty desires anger greed illusion madness and jealousy kriyate is rendered bhakti devotional service ishware on to the supreme controller vasudeve to lord vasudeva bhagavati the supreme personality of godhead yaya by which samlabhyate is obtained ratihi attachment. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. By these activities, as mentioned above, one is able to cut down the influence of the enemies, namely lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and jealousy. And when thus situated, one can render service to the Lord. In this way, one surely attains the platform of loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. As mentioned in verses 30 and 31, we are on 33rd verse, Prabhupada is referring to 30 and 31. One's first duty is to approach the spiritual master, the representative of the personality of Godhead, to begin rendering service to him. Prahlad Maharaj proposed that from the very beginning of life, Kaumaram Acharit Pragyaha, a small child should be trained to serve the spiritual master while living at the Gurukula. Brahmachari Gurukule Vasandanto Gururhitam. Bhagavatam 7:12:1. This is the beginning of spiritual life. Guru Padashraya Sadhu Vartmanuvartmanam Sadharma Prichaha. By following the instructions of Guru and the Shastra, the disciple attains the stage of devotional service and becomes unattached to the possessions. Whatever he possesses, he offers to the spiritual master, the Guru, who engages him in Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnuhu. The disciple follows strictly and in this way learns how to control his senses. Then, by using his pure intelligence, he gradually becomes a lover of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed by Srila Rupa Goswami, Ado Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangaha. In this way, one's life becomes perfect and his attachment for Krishna becomes positively manifested. In that stage, he is situated in ecstasy, experiencing bhava and anubhava, as explained in the following verse. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधा कान्त नमस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरे वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तविंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुन्नङ्गायते गिरिं यत्कृपः तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यैश्वरम् Hare Krishna. So, thank you to all the devotees for joining for today's morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. We are discussing from Canto 7, Prahlad Maharaj's instructions, continuation of instructions to his school friends. So, this verse is Evam Nirjita Sad Vargei Kriyate Bhaktirishware Vasudeve Bhagavati Yaya Samlabhyate Ratihi. So this verse, this chapter is entitled What Prahlad Learned in the Womb. So in the beginning of this chapter, we see that being questioned by his friends in school, that we are in the same school, same age, but you are talking so eloquently and such high subject matters, spiritual subject matters. So how you know we don't know? So then Prahlad Maharaj tells about what he learned or how he had the fortune of hearing from Narad Muni in the womb. And that's how he tells. And then the further instruction is flowing on importance of spirit soul jnana. And in this section, where it started from 29th verse, there's description of bhakti, and 30 verse onwards, some of the principal limbs of bhakti, which Prabhupada quoted in the purport, which is starting with Guru Padashraya. So Guru Shushrushaya Bhaktya Sarva Labdharpanena cha Sangena Sadhu Bhaktanam Ishwararadhanena cha. So I thought we'll discuss three aspects from this. So first was, if we see here, Prahlad Maharaj is a very small child, 5-year-old child. And when children speak philosophy, it is very, very captivating. It captivates everyone. So let's see in Bhagavatam where else children speak philosophy. Anywhere else we see children speaking philosophy in Bhagavatam. Chitraketu Maharaj's son, who is made alive by uh, Narad Muni, also there, Harsha Shoka. So he also speaks the philosophy of life, whose father, which life's father you are, and things like that. So that's one example we see. Any other example in Bhagavatam? Yeah, Yamraj, he comes as a small child to speak to Suyagya's wives and relatives who were lamenting, not allowing the body to be cremated. So there also he comes and it captivates everyone's heart by speaking very eloquently the philosophy of Bhagavad. Anywhere else? Chitan Charitamrita, yes. Shiva's Thakur's son who dies and who is revived. That one only, na? So he also speaks. I was thinking of even Chatush Kumaras. So Chatush Kumaras are like also they are the oldest, but still they are like in the form of babies only. And when they speak philosophy, that also is very captivating. And another example I was thinking was maybe of Vaman Dev. Vaman Dev also, he just appeared and then he also came and he was speaking. He's a Batu, and he also captivated everyone by his beauty and also his eloquent speech. So these are some examples we see where when child speaks philosophy, so it's very captivating. Even in our midst, we see na, children when they speak shlokas or they make reels nowadays or videos. So people are very much attracted to those kind of things. So I was thinking, what is Prahlad Maharaj's uniqueness here? They are all, but if you see Prahlad Maharaj, first is he's not an ordinary child. He's not even a devotee child. He's Asuric. He's from an Asur family. And he had a very, while speaking, if he speaks anything against Hiranyakashipu or any of those things, there's a lot of danger. So, in other instances, there's not so much danger, personally sake. But here, first is he has Asuric background, being born, even though from the womb he got Narad Muni's instructions, but still he was an Asura child. Second is he's speaking to his friends. So generally, when child speaks philosophy, very good, but when you have to speak philosophy to a child, very difficult because they don't understand anything. You have to make it like something like a play or something. But here, Prahlad Maharaj's unique attribute is speaking philosophy to his friends who are also of the same age. So very difficult to convince or to preach the kind of knowledge which Prahlad Maharaj is giving. Even we may find it difficult to grasp it fully after reading many times. So he's speaking that philosophy or conveying that message to his friends who are of same age. And but what created, like, because many of us saw that movie recently of Prahlad Maharaj. So then very nicely depicted in that movie also, and we see from Shrimad Bhagavatam that the character of Prahlad, simplicity of Prahlad, and devotion of Prahlad really attracted his friends, anybody who was in its midst, from where he is getting that simple heart to offer or remember Vishnu or to always offer everything to Krishna. So that was something which was very, very captivating for anyone, and for that matter, especially his friends. And they, even though it is very, very high philosophy, they were attracted and they were hearing with rapt attention. We see previously it's mentioned about Prahlad Maharaj as Krishna Graha Grahitatma. He is Krishna Graha is very, generally we say in this world, Rahu Graha or whatever, Shani Graha is very heavy on somebody if something is going on very bad. But in Prahlad Maharaj's case, it's mentioned Krishna Graha Grahitatma. He was completely affected by Krishna Graha, Grahita Atma. So he was constantly in that mood. So that is something very special about Prahlad Maharaj is speaking. He's not speaking to elders, he's speaking to children of his age. And that's very difficult preaching in one sense, or even to communicate what you want to do. So that's special. So I was just remembering from Prabhupada's life also. So Srila Prabhupada, uh, like Saraswati, son of daughter of Sham Sundar Prabhu and Malti Mataji. So she was always like born in Krishna consciousness. So in the beginning, she would be traveling wherever Prabhupada went, and Prabhupada would say, big, big philosophers, if you ask them, people who come, who is God, they have so many arguments. But Prabhupada would call Saraswati and say, who is God? And she will say, Krishna is God. And Prabhupada will give some Mahaprasad and they say, see, small child also knows convincingly who is God. So he will be very happy. There's another one pastime. I think it happened uh, in Chennai, that time Madras. So there, Prabhupada was staying in one well-wisher's house, and then they gave one silver murti of Krishna to Saraswati. So Saraswati was playing with that. So then Prabhupada called Saraswati and took that murti from her and hid it. And she did not see. So then she was going around asking, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? So she went all around in that room outside. So she was looking, oh, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? So she was going all around in that house, in that room. And Prabhupada was sitting. Those those who were hosting them, they were also there, and disciples. So everyone was seeing. So Prabhupada was. So then devotees were thinking, oh, this is the desperation with which we have to see. Where is Krishna? Ye he Radhe Brajadevi ke chalalite he Nanda suno kuta. So then after some time she became desperate. She could not find where is Krishna, where is Krishna. She started crying. So then one devotee said, prompted Saraswati, Saraswati, who has Krishna? So she was thinking. Then again, who has Krishna? So after two, three times, it clicked to her. She said, Prabhupada has Krishna. So she ran to Prabhupada and he said, Prabhupada has Krishna. So she could understand that like pure devotee has Krishna. So in that sense, Yamuna Mataji writes in her book, she couldn't, like, she is relating that whole episode. Even Sham Sundar Prabhu writes in his book also, the Chasing the Rhinos. So Yamuna Mataji says that all of a sudden it dawned upon her that actually who has Krishna? Prabhupada has Krishna. So she runs to Prabhupada and she comes, Prabhupada has Krishna, Prabhupada has Krishna. So then in the meantime, Prabhupada had asked devotees to bring another deity of Krishna, and then Prabhupada gave that, not giving that silver deity. But then Sutta, she received it and she put it to her heart and she was so happy. Oh, Prabhupada has Krishna and Prabhupada has given me Krishna. So that's the way, with simplicity, how we can be attracted to Krishna consciousness. And as a child, here Prahlad Maharaj is showing that aspect. So that's about how Prahlad is speaking as a child. Now, this verse, if you see, there are two parts to this verse. First two lines and the second two lines. Evam nirjita sadvargei kriyate bhaktirishware. So bhaktirishware, if we do bhakti to Lord, kriyate, if we do that act, then what happened? Nirjita sadvargei. The shad means six. Varge means the six vices. So nirjita means will be free from these six vices. So if one does bhakti, then one will be free from these six vices. So that is, acharyas say, this is the secondary result of performing bhakti. One will be free from the six anarthas or the effects in this world. And the next two lines talk about Vasudeva Bhagavati. Who is that Ishvara? Vasudev, Krishna, Bhagavati, Yaya, Samlabhyate Ratihi. And one will develop Samlabhyate, he obtains. Ratihi. Ratihi means he attains attachment or love, as Prabhupada says, loving service. So this is the primary aspect of performing bhakti. That is, one attains love for the Lord, attachment to the Lord. So there's primary effect and there is secondary effect. So there are many verses in Bhagavatam on similar lines which are talking about how one can be free from the anarthas. Like in first canto, Yasyayam Vaishruyamananam Krishne Paramapurushe Bhaktir Utpade Pumsam Shoka Moha Bhayapaham. So if one performs bhakti, then what happens? Shoka Moha Bhaya Apaham. It is completely destroyed. So like that, if we just hear, we engage in Shravanam Kirtanam process. Yasya Vai Shruyamananam. If we engage in the Shravanam process, Krishna Paramapurushe. Hearing about who? Krishna Parampurush. Bhaktir Utpade will give rise to bhakti. And Shok, Moh, Bhaya, etc. Apaham. Apaham means it's completely destroyed. And the primary result, as it's mentioned here, so I was thinking there are other verses also, but in third canto, very nicely between Vidura and Maitreya, it's mentioned Ashesha Sanklesha Shamam Vidatte Gunanuvada Shravanam Murare Kim va punastas charanaravinde Paraga Seva Ratiratma Labdha. So this verse also has a very similar mood to this verse which is mentioned here. Ashesha Sanklesha Shamam Vidatte. Ashesha, unlimited. Ashesha, Sanklesha, Klesha, Sanklesha, which we have accumulated. Ashesha Sanklesha Shamam. They are completely destroyed. Shamam Vidatte. When? Guna Nuvada Shravanam Murare. When we do Guna, Anuvad and Shravanam. Gunanuvada Shravanam Murare. When we speak and also hear Gunanuvada Shravanam of whom? Murare. So that is the secondary effect. Ashesha Sanklesha Shamam Vidatte. And the next two lines says Kim va punastas charanara vinde. Kim va punastas. If just by hearing one gets this effect, then what to speak of? Kimva. Kimva is asking a question. What to speak of? Kimva punastas charanara vinde. Charanara vinde. Krishna's lotus feet. Paraga seva. Those, the saffron dust particles. Parag refers to the saffron dust particles. The saffron dust particles on the lotus feet of the Lord. Paraga seva ratiratma labdha. He will get ratiratma labdaha. So just by hearing one gets that, but if one has developed great attachment for serving to the lotus, here it can also mean paraga seva ratir. If one has developed that attachment for paraga seva, just imagine what kind of result he will achieve. Paraga seva ratiratma labdha. And another aspect is that saffron dust particles on the lotus feet of the Lord actually represents pure devotees also, who are always situated on the lotus feet of the Lord. So by serving them, paraga seva, what will be the effect? If we serve them, paraga seva, ratiratma labdha, we'll get great devotion. In second canto also, very beautiful verse comes. पिबन्ति ये भागवत आत्मनः सताम् कथामृतं श्रवणपुटेषु संभृतं पुनन्ति ते विषया विदूषिताशयं व्रजन्ति तच्चर्ण सरोरुअन्तिकं पिबन्ति ये. Just drink this nectar. पिबन्ति ये भागवत आत्मनः सताम् कथामृतं. But where should we drink from? Kathamritam Shravana from the ears. Don't drink through the mouth, but drink through Shravana through the ear holes. Shravana Samridam. So why it's mentioned to drink from the ears? Why not from the mouth? Or why drinking or why not hearing is mentioned here? Pibanti. Yes, Ganganathru, why Pibanti drinking is mentioned? 2 years. 3 years. But why drink? Why not he? They could have said Shravana. Why Pibanti? Full of rasa. Okay. Full of rasa. Yes. Nectar is to be drunk. Okay. Drunk through the ears. Another aspect is when you drink something, there's a constant flow. You drink something, so there is like you keep on having constant flow of it. So it's mentioned Pibanti. Drink means constantly drink. There should be a constant flow. Pibantiye bhagavatatmana satam. So drinking also refers to having that constant flow of nectar flowing through. When we eat or when we hear, there can be some interruption, na? But when you drink, we can in one flow keep on drinking, drinking, drinking. There is generally you without gap. So pibanti ye bhagavata atmana satam kathamritam shravanaputeshu samritam. And what will be the effect? Punanti te vishaya vidushitashayam. Punanti means complete. There about the effects of the klesha or the anarthas in the heart will be destroyed and one will develop rati to go towards the Lord. So, so one way, so as Prabhupada mentions, and the next few verses you will see coming ahead in next few days, they talk about this rati, as Prabhupada says, uh, in that stage he is situated in ecstasy, experiencing bhava and anubhava, as explained in the following verse. So in the next verse it will be mentioned of bhava, anubhava. So rati is the goal of our practice. Whatever as a sadhana we are doing, it is so that we develop rati for the Lord, attachment for the Lord, sense of belonging to the Lord. So rati. So how can one get rati? Great desperation is required. So aspiration in nolyam and great desperation is the only qualification. And it will be bestowed by the mercy of Lord and his devotees. It cannot be achieved, but we can show our desperation, or like the example is given of Chataka bird. So the Chataka bird is very thirsty, but it will not drink anything from ground. It's waiting for the fresh rain water to fall. Even though it's scorching with, heat, thirst. Summer has just gone by, but it's still looking up. And before rains come, there is lightning, thunder, but still it doesn't budge an inch from its desire to drink water from source of this world. It's constantly looking in that direction only. So that great desperation, lolium, or not settle for anything else apart from that attachment to the Lord is what is going to give that. And association of those who have that rati. So association of those who have that rati. So in Bhagavatam also, like we see in first canto, Narad Muni, when he is relating his own previous life as the son of maid servant in the fifth chapter. So there also Narad Muni tells that how he achieved from Shraddha to Rati very fast. So it's mentioned there that he's telling that in my previous birth, I was born as a maid servant, son, and engaged in the service of Bhakti Vedantas during the 4 months of Chaturmasya, like the 4 months going on. So then he says, the impartial Bhakti Vedantas bestowed their mercy upon me, Satam Kripa. So they bestowed mercy, Satam Kripa. Thus, although I was a boy, I developed sense control, gave up sports, became obedient, and was not naughty or talkative. So he started doing Mahat Seva, Shraddha developed, and Guru Padashray. So these are some additional limbs which Vishnachakya Thakur mentions. So we hear of 9 limbs in devotional service from Shraddha to Prem. Srila Vishnachakya Thakur in the second chapter of first canto, he gives 14 stages of practice. So he adds this. Before even Shraddha comes, there has to be Satam Kripa. And after Satam Kripa, there has to be some Mahat Seva. So this Mahat Seva is what we call as Agyata Sukriti. Doing some service without even knowing. So Satam Kripa and then Mahat Seva, that will lead to Shraddha, where we develop some seed, and that Shraddha will then lead to Guru Padashray, taking to the process. And then he says, Bhajaneshu Spriha. I developed some Spriha towards Bhajana. So that is our Bhajana. And once I took their remnants with their permission, and all my sins were eradicated. So then all his sins were eradicated means Anartha Nivriti. So he became Bhakti or Anartha Apagamam. And having developed an inclination for Bhakti, being pure in heart, I inevitably developed a taste. Nishtha and Ruchi came into picture. And I attentively heard Krishna Katha every day by their mercy. So Asakti, I attentively heard every day. He's saying, as my taste for hearing increased at every step, I developed Rati for Krishna or Bhava for Krishna. So Rati is also same as Bhava. And then there are other steps also which are Prema, and after Prema there is Darshanam and Madhurya Anubhava. According to Vishnachakya Thakur, after Prema there are 2 more steps, which is Darshanam, getting Sakshat Darshan of the Lord, and Madhurya Anubhava. So that is what Narad Muni tells later when he gets the Darshan of the Lord. So that was the aspect. So how, by that intense practice and mercy of Bhakti Vedantis, he could go very quickly from Satam Kripa to Darshanam or Madhurya Anubhava. So Prema, Rati can be developed in that way. So that is second aspect. Another aspect which Prabhupada points in the purport is that quoting the previous verses 30 and 31. So in 30 and 31, it's mentioned Guru Shushrushaya Bhaktya Sarva Labdharpanena Cha Sangena Sadhu Bhaktanam Ishwaradhanena Cha. So which is talking about taking shelter of spiritual master. So Prabhupada says that one's first duty is to approach the spiritual master. So Prabhupada is highlighting Guru Padashraya, Sadhu Vartmanu Vartmanam, Sadharma Pricha. So if you look at this, these are terms which Prabhupada is quoting from Guru Padashraya, Sadhu Vartmanu Vartmanam, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the 64 limbs, they start with this. The first three limbs are related to directly approaching Guru. So that's the main primary goal. So he's saying Sadhu, Guru Padashraya, Sadhu Vartmanu Vartmanam, Sadharma Prichaha. So these are related to the primary aspects of bhakti. So the relation between Guru and disciple, Prabhupada is stressing so much. So he's talking about Guru and also how Prahlad Maharaj says, Kaumara Acharit Pragyo. Or Prabhupada is also saying, Brahmachari Guru Kule Vasadanto Guru Hitam. So that aspect. So Guru is our so importance of Guru and disciple relationship Prabhupada is highlighting because Vrati is beyond. What we can start is with developing first our Shraddha or relationship with Guru and being firmly established in that Guru disciple relationship. So Prabhupada is mentioning in most of the purport about this only. So Guru is a guide, well-wisher. Like in third canto, another verse comes, Deve Vedanti Atitaranti Cha Deva Maya Strishu Nahu Strishu Nahuna Shabara Api Papa Jiva Yadi Adbhuta Kara Yadi Adbhuta Krama Parayana Shila Shikshe Stiryak Jana Kimati Kimuto Shraddhayani. Yeah. So there also it's mentioned Teve Vidanti Atitaranti Cha Deva Maya. So this Deva Maya one can cross over, which is very difficult. Teve Vidanti Atitaranti Cha Deva Maya. Anyone. Stri Huna Shuna Shabara Api Papa Jiva. And this is what? The third line is very important. Yadi Adbhuta Krama Parayana Shila Shikshes. Adbhuta Krama refers to Lord. Adbhuta Krama Parayan refers to the devotees of the Lord. If we get trained, Shila Shikshes, if we get Shiksha from them, or if we get training under them. Yadi Adbhuta Krama Parayana Shila Shikshesh, Tiryak Jana. What to speak of this? Even an animal, Tiryak Jana, he can be delivered. So that is mentioned. And then somebody may say, why I need to serve Guru or shake shelter of Guru? So another aspect is mentioned is service actually turns knowledge to realization. So unless we learn to serve, knowledge will remain theoretical. But theory will turn to realization or become part of us only when we serve. Like in another words, it says, Yad Bhagvata Sevaya Kutastha Maduddisha Ratiraso Bhavet Tivro Padayor Vyasanardana. Yat Sevaya Bhagavata, if one does service to the devotees, what happens? Kutastha Madudushaha and Rati Raso Bhavet Tivro. One develops that Rati Raso. Why? Padayor Vyasanardana. And his sins or his kalmasha are destroyed. So offering everything to Guru. Prabhupada tells one line here, very beautiful. Prabhupada says, in the purport, by following the instructions of Guru and the Shastra, the disciple attains the stage of devotional service and becomes unattached to possessions. Whatever he possesses, he offers to the spiritual master, the Guru, who engages him in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. Whatever he possesses, he offers to the spiritual master. So it's a two-way process. The disciple, Prabhupada is saying, whatever he possesses, he offers to the spiritual master. Why? Because he has become unattached to those possessions, being engaged in devotional service. So when he offers everything to the spiritual master, and then what spiritual master does? The Guru who engages him in Shravan, Kirtanam, Vishnu. So by doing both aspects, like if we do our part, then we will have Guru's mercy flowing. So many a times this question comes that how we can make progress in devotional service. So the best or the easiest or the most effective ways, if we can please a Vaishnav. If we can please a Vaishnav and get his blessings from the heart, then things will turn from being theoretical to actually coming to realized state. That's the way to actually turn things from being in so engages in. So I will just end with one uh, pastime which Srila Prabhupada had. So Srila Prabhupada, when he went to the West in 1966, then after some time, he 1 year he got some success. After 65 and then 66, etc., he got some success. So then Prabhupada had one major, uh, uh, you know, disease, heart problem. So then he went to, devotees took him to San Francisco and Los Angeles and things like that. And he was recuperating there. But Prabhupada felt after some time there's not enough sun. So let me go to India because sun will actually cure me. So then when Prabhupada was leaving, some of his just new disciples or new followers, they so when Prabhupada was leaving, so one disciple asked, Prabhupada, if you don't come back already old, so who will take care of us? So can you send one of your spiritual master, one of your god brothers? So then Prabhupada made one very interesting and very nice statement. He said, Prabhupada did not say anything about this suggestion. Prabhupada said, my spiritual master was not an ordinary person. He delivered me. Prabhupada said, he was referring to his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Prabhupada said, my spiritual master was not an ordinary person and he delivered me. So Prabhupada indirectly said that this relation between guru and disciple is actually an eternal bond. It cannot be replaced by any other because they were very new, so they thought, oh, if Prabhupada doesn't come, then we can have some other of Prabhupada's god brother and take his guidance. But then Prabhupada was instructing them very beautifully by his relationship with his spiritual master. And then, uh, and I was just thinking the other day, yesterday, when we were engaged in deity service. So then we were hearing Prabhupada's lecture, and Prabhupada made I was just amazed at how Prabhupada can make, uh, bhakti process. He can convey how bhakti is the best process and the only process. So that's Prabhupada's unique presentation, and he has such strong faith on Krishna and this process of bhakti. So Prabhupada says there are 9 holes in the body. Prabhupada says there are 9 holes in the body, but you can only eat through one hole, which is mouth. So Prabhupada says similarly, you can only achieve perfection by bhakti process. Like you can only eat through the mouth. There are 9 holes, but you can only achieve perfection. Like you can only eat through the mouth. Similarly, you can only achieve perfection through bhakti. Actually, there was a question answer going on. Somebody had asked a question, and in reply, Prabhupada was saying. So I was thinking that's a very unique way of saying that only way to achieve perfection is through bhakti. There are 9 holes, and one hole only can be used to eat. So that's what we have the privilege of having in our lives, the opportunity to render this unprecedented opportunity to render service to the Lord, and under the guidance of Srila Prabhupada, who made things very relevant, very simple, and like what they say, there is no, generally when I read Prabhupada's books and Prabhupada lectures, I feel that there can be no second opinion about developing faith in bhakti, because he has that strong faith and he was able to uh, transfer that faith of Shuddha Bhakti in lives of so many people. And he's still transferring that faith in the life of so many people. Hare Krishna. So we discussed today on these three aspects. So one was Prahlad Maharaj as a small boy speaking philosophy. So we took some examples from Shastra and how Prahlad Maharaj's presentation or his situation is unique from that perspective. And then this verse is talking about um, two aspects: secondary results of bhakti and primary results of bhakti. So, secondary is to do with the Shad Vargai, the six anarthas are destroyed, but the primary result is one develops attachment to Krishna. And the third is the relationship between Guru and disciple. And that's where everything starts, and that's where everything ends also. It's an eternal relationship where one remains completely dedicated, and by mercy of such a guru who has rati for the Lord, can one get a glimpse and finally achieve that state. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your patience and listening and giving your blessings. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda ki jai.